and obviously you meet sketchy people and you have close calls. Almost got hit by a car, uh, certain people. Yeah, to say it's not dangerous would be a lie. I mean, it was obviously very dangerous, and I don't encourage anybody to live that lifestyle. I was a very different person when I was doing it, but I am grateful that I did it. I'm grateful for the experiences I had. I'm grateful for the person I am today, and I'm like the 0.0001% that I got a lot of good out of it, and I didn't become like an absolute scumbag like so many of the people that do it do, and get into. I didn't become an alcoholic. I didn't become a heroin addict. I didn't become a crackhead. I didn't become a thief or anything like that, which is just so common amongst people that end up on the street. Is they become desperate and they start to go down really bad paths. Certainly. I mean, so this is one of the subjects I wanted to hit on was the difference between witchcraft, herbalism, green witch sort of stuff, and using plants as medicine, because there's always like that fine line, and people are always like, when they hear herbalism, they think hippie chick, crystals, witchcraft. At least I have that association in my head, right? And it's because there is an element of that does exist. The sort of herbalist magic, right? People using it in spells, people using it in correlation with astrology, like, oh, this planet runs over this plant, and so for this illness that hits this organ, this organ's run by this planet. I mean, people, there is a sort of aspect of witchcraft in herbal healing that you have to be weary of, that you have to look out for. Obviously, I don't encourage any of that stuff. I don't support any of that stuff, and I don't think it's even necessary. A lot of it is just folk medicine mixed in with a bunch of people's pagan religion, and so if you're going to an herbal practitioner that's using things like Reiki or using things like um, astrology, you shouldn't do that. That's not orthodox. I do not see the church condoning that whatsoever. But that doesn't mean that you can't use the plants, and that God didn't give us these plants for medicine. Just means that we shouldn't dilute it and mix it up with demonic garbage.
Right. And I wrote in the description about, I thought that this was a good topic for Orthodox Christianity specifically, because this would be good knowledge. I think this is a knowledge that Orthodox Christians can this is very Orthodox, because if you're reading the Desert Fathers, which is
Right.
this is the kind of books that I like to read,
Oh yeah.
And
I just got it. I just got it, but I
you?
don't have the sayings of the Desert Fathers.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's inside though, so I can't
I
pull it
love
out.
that.
Sure.
I love that kind of stuff. I love those kind of books. And so often in the lives of saints and the Desert Fathers, they say he lived on, this plant that grew near his cell, like sneet. What was it? Or Saint Seraphim ate sneet. That's what he lived on, right? And or Saint John Chrysostom lived on whatever grew on the hillside, wherever he was asceticizing.
Yeah.
So I think I wrote in the scripture, and hopefully I would like to think that someone out there watching this someday will become a monk, and then monasticism is the heart of Orthodoxy, and for those monks who are perfect, they go out and they become hermits, and they live out by themselves, and those are the kind of people I'm hoping someone somewhere will someday go out into the woods and be a hermit and be praying for the world, and maybe live on some plants, and live on what they. Can you do that? Can you survive?
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, that's so much. I mean, asceticism. Can you do that and be a healthy, thriving person? Well, with God's grace, anything is possible. But that ties into asceticism, right? If you're a hermit living off of wild berries and stuff, your body's gonna decline. You know what I mean? That's just the nature of asceticism. You're chastising your body, for the fruits of the spirit.
That's true. That's true.
So yes, people can. I mean, look at Saint Mary of Egypt. Lived in the desert for 47 years. I'm sure she didn't have the proper nutrition.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure they said she looked like a wraith when she was discovered by the Father. So, yeah. It can absolutely be done. It's been done many times in the past. Is it the most healthy way to live? Absolutely not. For most of us, I would say it's a great hobby to supplement your diet and get natural wild foods in your diet, because the thing is that once you take a plant, a fruit, a vegetable, once you disconnect it from its living, thriving, plant body, it starts to die. And there's stuff called phytonutrients, which are living nutrients within plants, that as soon as you take that apple from the tree, it immediately starts to decay. And if you eat that stuff super fresh, obviously it's better for you than if you pop it off, send it to South Africa to be waxed and coated, ship it back to America to be shipped to the grocery store, sit on the grocery store shelf for 2 weeks, buy it, take it home, eat it. Yeah, it's going to be less good for you than
Right.
finding
It's
the apple in
losing
nature.
as time goes by, the nutrients kind of decline in
Exactly.
from the time that it's picked. And also, like food grown in the wild is the healthiest food humans can eat.
Yeah.
And also, like, they're gonna have, like, the wild foods are gonna have more, instead of, when we are genetically modifying, or even just using the old school where you kind of selectively breed plants.
Yeah.
They would selectively breed for example, fruit that has more sugar. But the wild apple, for example, it's going to be smaller, it's going to be more tart, it's going to have more vitamins and minerals and less sugar in it.
Yep.
And that's true across the board for
Yeah.
other kind of foods you're going to find out there.
Wild grapes are very bitter, very sour. You can find so many. I mean, there are millions of grapes all over Buffalo. I mean, you can't go to a 7-Eleven without the dumpster being covered in grapevines, because the Italian immigrants brought over their vines and they grow their vines in the backyard, and they just spread like wildfire. And now there's just grapes everywhere. You can find a lot of those. You can make homemade wine with it. You can make homemade brandy with it. You can make jams and all sorts of stuff with it. But yeah, so yes, you can use it to supplement your diet and get healthy, really healthy foods mixed in. You can use it to supplement your medicine, and that's the number one thing, is to take it. It gives people an opportunity to take control of their health, and you can really avoid the doctors, the prescriptions of big pharma, by focusing on your diet and your nutrition, and by, when you have a symptom like a stomach ache, a headache, a cold, flu, to go for the natural remedy instead of the pill. It will keep you in the long term out of the doctor's office.